pleasure to talk to you about this film. I saw it this morning. It kind of woke me up.
Okay, good. It's definitely a morning movie.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Monday morning, 8 a.m.
Exactly. After a weekend of having partied like there was no Christmas tomorrow. You're no stranger to Jason and Jennifer as comedic geniuses. So what makes them so great and loved by the audiences?
I think that Jason has a lot of trust in the audience. I think people understand that if he feels like something's unusual, they should think something's unusual. I think just from his years on Arrested Development, being at the center of a very crazy ensemble, I think there's a lot of goodwill and faith that they put into him. And I think Jennifer, I think they know to trust that she's kind of an every girl and every woman. You know, there's something very relatable and down to earth to her. So I think spinning that assumption and playing sort of the evil CEO, Scrooge's sister, is just a fun thing to watch. And I think, you know, both of them, because we've worked with them, just deliver and commit so much to what they do that I think it's, you know, winning for audiences to see.
That's interesting because we are seeing them in a different comedic timing in this one. So how much game for it are they in the sense that they always want to do a different type of comedy?
Well, they're both very brave, which is kind of amazing. You know what I mean? For people that have been in the business as long as they have been. And like Will said, Jen is willing to kind of be the bad guy and dig into it with relish. And it's funny because she's really a nice person. So she's digging. We always joke there's something mean in there, but we can't find it. But and Bateman, you know, especially in this movie, he goes for it in ways that I don't think people have seen. There's some set pieces that he really we were pleasantly surprised at how you know he allowed himself to kind of embarrass himself in a great way.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And is it a little bit like a puzzle, you know, because it's such an ensemble film, you need to have the right actors at the right place at the right time. Is that how you see the big picture?
Yeah, we didn't want this. A lot of movies, especially studio comedies, come down to one big name and then everybody else. And I think we wanted this to feel like you could have an entry point as an audience to anyone. And there's big actors in it, but it really feels like a democratic ensemble. And no matter how small the role, we put an equal importance on. So I think that was our approach going into it. And we got really lucky with the cast we were able to assemble.
Was there a Christmas party in you guys' minds that has resonated throughout the years that might have been a focal point for this?
We have a production company and had gone to a pretty bad Christmas party where you just saw a bunch of people humiliate themselves and and so that was the beginning of us sort of thinking, wow, this could really, you know, be a universal idea.
Who remains on set the main audience for you guys, the crews when they laugh? I mean, how do you feel the energy and the comedy?
I think what was great is that what we didn't want to do, and it was very challenging for the schedule, was we didn't want to take an actor and shoot them in a small room by themselves and just have that room be enclosed, which would be a very easy way to sort of film each actor.
Yeah.
We always took them out and put them in the center of a large group of extras as well as our ensemble. And I think as a consequence, when funny things were happening, you could just feel it resonating across the set. And so I think the answer to that is our audience was always the other actors as well as all of the extras that we put into their purview, because I think we wanted to create a party environment. And the reality of parties are people come together in a communal way. Exactly. They often don't sort of go into separate areas. So it was a nightmare for our scheduling, but to us we felt like it was the best way to make the movie, and it made it really feel like you were actually experiencing this thing in real time.
Without giving too much away, the movie ends with interesting bloopers. How much improvisation was there on set, and how is that easy or difficult to control? Because you have all these, Kate McKinnon, all these uncontrollable comedians.
Improv people. I mean, we love improv, and we love, you don't want to assemble this, good of a cast and then just have them read the same jokes over and over again. So we create an environment where people are trying to plus things and one-up it. The trick is when you're improvising, it has to always be in character and it can't drag the scene off. Otherwise you get brilliantly funny stuff that you just can't use in the movie. And I think that's the challenge, is just making sure that the jokes are relevant to the scene that you're, using them in. So.
Yeah, it's true. Let's talk a little bit about Kate. You know, she's emerging as a movie star now. She's been on television for such a long time. Does she improvise all the time, and does she kind of, you know, derail it for you?
Derail is the worst word, because I think when you take a journey on a train that's going in a different direction, with her, we always want to be passengers. I think, you know, she, you know, obviously started on SNL and is still on SNL, and I think what we love about her, which was very similar to Will Ferrell, who we've worked with, is that all of her characters are part of a larger world. Even if they're very small in sketches, there's a complete world that she's invented for them that make them three-dimensional. She never really goes for just a joke. It's a joke based in a character. And so I think what was exciting here is that there's a lot of sort of typical notes that you could play with the HR person. But I think, you know, her collaboration with us in terms of collecting birds, you know, having secrets, being somebody who's fastidious about the rules but also willing to break them. That's all the things that we got to develop with her, and we were so grateful to have her.
Yeah, she brings the baggage in the van.
Exactly, exactly.
Were there a lot of difficult scenes to shoot? Because obviously, you know, it's a comedy, but there's a lot of tricky things logistically to capture.
Yeah, there were. I mean, it's a big movie. We didn't want to make sort of the typical small office movie. We wanted it set in a big corporate office in downtown Chicago. So we shot, you know, in Chicago and then built 3 stories of a set in Atlanta because we knew we were going to destroy it. And you know, there's big chase sequences. So there were a lot of things in the movie. And even just keeping the energy of a party with 400 extras going for 2.5 months is a challenge. So, but, you know, we got through it.
Oh, absolutely, and brilliantly so. Well, when you have big movie stars, you know, like Jennifer, like Jason, etc., it's unlikely that they've had an office Christmas party. So how do you put them in the mood?
I think all of them really embrace that very element. It's a good question, and it's the right question. I think, you know, one thing that we also did is that we built a set to scale. So we shot exteriors in Chicago, and then we recreated 2 stories of an office building on 2 sound stages. It was quite large, and everybody had their own office in a way on set, and so actors would sort of inhabit the set and stay there even in between takes. And so
when you walked on, you felt like you were in a high-rise at a party. So I think it got them in the mood, you know.
Yeah, the decadence.
We also got them drunk a lot.
Exactly.
Which, you know, another day at the office. Filming the movie. So what would you like to do next in terms of extravagant comedy, or maybe just depressing drama?
Maybe, yeah.
I think we've had a pattern. I mean, we've only made 3, but I mean, the first one was sort of big and broad. The second one was kind of quiet and small. This one is a little bit of combination of both. I think we want to just keep doing things that are different and that challenge us. But, you know, I think comedy is something that is part of our sensibility in our life, and it's sort of how we see things, is always a comedic bent. But I think it's just about where that can go and what genre that can travel into.
And hopefully something not set in winter would be really nice.
Yes, exactly. You know, summer.
Yeah, on a beach.
Jennifer tanned.
There you
know,
go.
she looks good tanned.
Exactly. She'd love it.